Some professional Starcraft, 2 European Terran players on the new patch. And I picked this game, well, 2 Terrans, and I have no idea how to play TVT, so hopefully they teach me. Marinelord and Clem. Now, I know are they both French? I think they're both French, actually. So maybe a French civil war here. The likes of which have not been seen. Wait, is Clem French? Yes. And Marinelord. I could have done, yes! The likes of which we haven't seen for centuries. So these 2 French Terrans are gonna teach me how to play Terran. Both of them, I believe Marinelord is 22, 23, and Clem is like 16. So these kids can get off my lawn, go back to their house, get on their computer, and teach me how to play Starcraft. Come on, guys. Marinelord is sponsored by O Gaming, the illustrious French organization, and Clem by Exceed Esports as well. Double gas on both sides, which, now, mirror matchups have always been like this, and it's just the nature of it. When you're in a mirror matchup, if your opponent just simply has a little bit of an advantage of tech, it's very hard to deal with. Even the defender's advantage is reduced. TVT is historically the least volatile mirror matchup, but not by a huge margin, especially in Legacy of the Void, because there are still so many options to be able to get into the base. Just having a bunker and a tank at the front is not going to save you. I'm sorry, Bronze League heroes. But between Liberators and Reapers and Cyclones and even Battle Cruisers now, there are so many options to get early damage done. So I'm not surprised that both these players are opting for the 1-1-1 to start, the double gas, no expansion super early on. It looks like they're going to go for the double Reaper mirror builds. But a slight difference, Marinelord is choosing to build in his base, not well enough. And he's built a depot that actually blocks Reapers from jumping in that location, limiting the options for counterattack. Clem going to be slapping down his command center. Looks like Clem has gone for the more economical version, where he's mining with 2 in each gas in order to be able to get a few extra minerals to get that command center earlier. He can add on to the gas in just a moment and get his tech up. So that means Marinelord is likely to be the aggressor in the early game. We got to have the little dance, 2 Reapers and a Hellion. It all comes down to the micro as they stand their ground on the top of the ramp on both sides. Neither player willing to take that risk. Running up a ramp is a classic and time-tested way to throw a game, especially in TVT. Looks like Marinelord is ready to come down the ramp now. He's opting for Cloak Banshees, which, I mean, are... Oh, okay. The Widow Mine. Will he check for it? You can see Clem is very aware of this. Oh. That's a rough start, but the Widow Mine will tank some shots. That means that Marinelord will be able to turn the tables. Ooh, beautiful dodge, but still hits one of the Reapers. The grenades will block the retreat, and Marinelord unable to pursue, but killing that first Hellion just takes away the whole advantage, and that means Clem's going to be forced to play defensive for now. Now, the Cyclone is one of the most useful defensive tools, but requires a lot of babysitting. I say that like it's a bad thing, but the micro potential of the new old Cyclone with its lock-on ability is quite dramatic. Now, since it only has 120 HP, a Widow Mine does 125 damage. So if it gets hit by a Widow Mine, it dies, as I've learned, to dramatic effect. The Reapers will loop around to the top. There's no Widow Mine here. He's trying to be careful about it. The Reapers give so much vision. The Cloak Banshee is going out, but Marinelord pincered and sliced apart by the Reaper Cyclone aggression. But there is a Banshee on the other side. He does have a Cyclone. Cloak is done. Pre-scan. Gets the lock. He's going to dodge into the edge of the Cloak, but into the edge of the scan, rather. It's not going to be enough. Both sides dealing out the aggression. Clem does have a couple... Well, he lost a couple SCVs, it looks like, there. And it evens up the count. But now Clem has the ability to come across the map. Another Cyclone. He does manually lock on the clone of Clem's. And they do a lot of damage to one another. A second Cloak Banshee is coming out. Behind that is the Raven. Also a ton of utility. Now, picking up the Cyclone, picking up any unit can break the lock-on. So that's a big part of this. Nope, he doesn't decide to pick up, but the counter lock is there. Does he have the vision? The medevac helps out a lot. He can pick up that cyclone and get it out. A few more Marines are on the way across. Another lock-on. Got to be careful about the auto-lock there. Dodging back, looking for the lock. Smoked Banshee out of range of the turret. There's nothing there to shoot at it because of that detection. Beautiful micro from Clem doing so much damage, just beating up Marinelord on his side of the map. But the Banshee getting a little bit of counter damage done because Clem has committed so much. He's just railing units across. A tank is on the high ground. It's not quite in range. The command center may have to be lifted. The Banshee finds another angle as that turret's too close to the command center, and Clem will have to abandon mining on his natural. In comes the auto turret. Went into range of the siege tank. Clem stepping a little bit too far forward, but he's not done. A Viking is on the deck. The medevac badly bruised, but not dead yet. Is there a Viking for Marinelord? He has a reactor. He's desperately trying to get the damage done. The Banshee scanned and finally cleaned up, but a lot of damage done by Marinelord as well. Clem just trying to hold on to his command center. Why don't you lift it? He doesn't. He refuses. This one tank in position. Marinelord almost losing the CC, but it's not going to be enough. The tank's moving forward. There is no interference matrix. He's just going to try to get on top. The repairs are there. Beautiful save. And finally, Clem will be beaten back. And when the smoke clears and everything settles for now, we're not done yet. He's going to continue forward. Clem has a few more SCVs, but what's the production looking like? Third base, there's not much being built for Marinelord as he's been spending a lot on repair. His SCVs had to be pulled. A Viking trying to come into the main, still a big danger to SCVs, but Clem just doesn't have enough units to put together a threatening attack without risking too much. So heavy aggression, as well, is common, but surprisingly even trade so far. Oop. The Vikings will be driven back, but he does use the energy. Liberator intercepted. He should be able to chase it down with good stutter micro. Not quite. Liberator brushes it off. 2-on-2 at the front. Boys will be pulled. Tank stays alive for that extra shot. Very important. The scan was there. He's going to retreat with that first tank. This is risky business. Does he lose the medevac? Oh my god! You gotta finish these things, Marinelord. The Liberator and the medevac being left with a few points of HP. That means they can be repaired. It is going to be Marine tank for both sides, but it's taken 7.5 minutes before either player has felt comfortable enough to begin that upgrade. The aggression continues. They have air control. Okay. Clem, you walk into a strong breeze, you're going to lose half your air units. You need to calm down. Third base being built on location. I think he did get the scan. Yeah, third CC. He knows Marinelord. He wants to catch up a little bit economically. How many tanks? Ooh, 4 tanks from Marinelord. I don't believe he's lost a single tank this game. He has not. And that is the backbone of this aggression. The command center is vulnerable on the low ground. Clem needs a strong defense in order to maintain a good position in this game. Edging forward. It looks like Clem's just going to give up this location. It was a risky move. Yeah, Clem is trying to repair. There are too many tanks. They're going to do too much damage. He can't break this in time. It's a big win for Marinelord to be able to get the third CC while his is already floating over. Completed. A beautiful scan. He sees the tanks on siege. Marinelord backs off before the scan of Clem comes out to see him. And a clean tactical withdrawal, as we'll say. Marinelord establishing that third. Clem double upgrades, but behind Marinelords as well. And it's the air army it's the air army that really can solidify games. Like a Liberator taken out after being repaired. If Clem had the Viking count, if he had a Raven, then he might have an angle to push in. But with this air control, as long as Marinelord is safe about it, it becomes very difficult for Clem to find an angle. He has to rely on risky moves. And now this is quite a risky... Oh, the sensor tower comes up at the worst possible time! Oh, just as he boosted into it, and that move will be shut down as well. Now the supplies are even. The third base is not the end of the world for Clem. It means he does have to look for opportunities. He's got to stay very, very... aggressive defense, I guess, is the best way to put it. Because if you let your opponent, who has 3 bases, push into you, He has the economy, he has the position, he has air control, you got nothing. The fake out moves, 5 medevacs. He's trying to pull him out of position. This is a big gamble here. The Vikings are looking for the medevacs. Clem, he's trying to make big plays. Shakespeare was from England, but Clem is from France. He won't be outdone. The sensor tower sees this in time. He's going to try to move in. The tanks will siege, but not quite able to find the angle. Marinelord spotting it out just in time. Oh. Interference matrix. He loses a couple medevacs for that play, but those are the type of moves you got to try to make. The scan again. He sees the tanks on siege. Clem still looking for an opportunity. Combat shields is done for Clem, not quite yet for Marinelord. That means he might be able to take a fight. Makes tanks that much more effective. A single Marine over here. Who knows how that happened? This Marine scouting the very top. Get a little bit more vision of potential medevac drop. Clem still 7 medevacs against 1. That's the big thing. Marinelord doesn't have that many medevacs with his army, making it difficult to take a prolonged fight. So Clem, he does have map control with that medevac count for now, but as Marinelord starts to really bank on this third base, Clem has his, but he hasn't had that income for nearly as long. The tank count kind of reflects it, 8 to 6, 7 Vikings to 1. Medevacs now being produced by Marinelord, but Clem has slipped into position. Oh, almost. The counter scan comes out. 2-2 on the way for both sides. +1 mech weapons is being invested in for Marinelord. Has he lost a single tank yet? Has not lost a single one. And he's pushing out. He's got 2-2 on the way. Clem is waiting for him. Oh, this could go badly. For either side. The tanks will siege. Marinelord not sieged up. A little bit of an awkward engagement. Where is the Raven? Beautiful spread by Clem. He got the first siege. A lot of Vikings in the air. Incredible Marine spread. He's minimizing so much damage. He's got 7 Marines and they killed like 7 tanks. Clem taking advantage of this opportunity. Marinelord losing 7 tanks in that fight and now forced into retreat. Beautiful micro from Clem making the plays. A tank is sieged up. He will take it no further. But that is exactly what he needed to stay in this match. Now, he lost all his medevacs. He kept all his tanks, so kind of the roles are reversed here. Where Marinelord has this potential mobility, he can take a longer fight, but Clem can push a position strongly, and if Marinelord isn't there to block him, he's going to be losing a key part of the map. Clem taking a 4th base off of the back of that victory. 2-2 is about to finish for both sides. Looks like it's slightly quicker for Marinelord. The Viking count was maintained. The scan war continues. He's in sensor tower range. He built a backup one. It's so important to be able to see, especially when your opponent has so many more tanks than you. Does Marinelord have 2 factories? No, he's just got a ton of Marine production. He is the Marinelord after all. This is awkward. Clem still waiting, looking for a position. Marinelord, despite losing that fight, it's still been Clem trying to claw his way back into an even position. Oh my god, a huge move! Big commitment from Marinelord. All of his units. Clem thrusts through to the front. It's Marinelord's turn to split those Marines. The Liberators come up, making full use of that air control. He has to stim down and kill the Liberators. He will lose several dozen Marines for the cost. Not quite as cost-effective as Clem on the other side, but the tanks will be beaten back. The Vikings hit the deck, doing extra damage to mechanical. Both sides taking heavy, heavy losses. Will he pick up the Vikings to save them? No, but the Marines stim in, and it's still 134, still banking off that economy. No planetary at the 4th base. Down goes the sensor tower. Clem stimming back to defend. He's still on the defensive. He keeps trying to get aggressive, but Marinelord slaps him away at the last second. Neither player feeling comfortable enough for 3-3 upgrades. Marinelord should be starting them There you go. Both sides, as the smoke clears, and they have a second to breathe, but not much more than that. Now we're kind of seeing the split again. Young Terrans have always been very, very micro-heavy, very aggressive, relying on those Marine splits and target fire. Clem, a young Terran player. Marinelord, not an old guard man himself, but a little bit more dependent on... Now, not necessarily a worse play, usually a better play, just having the right unit composition, taking advantages where he has a higher percentage of victory. But Clem comes in, stims in, draws the Marine shots. It looks like there was some counter-tank fire. Tanks on both sides. He takes out 2, but Marinelord has more in the back. The Vikings looking for an opportunity to take out some medevacs. This is happening. The tank's moving forward. The scan, he's gonna pull out. The Marine count is getting too high from Marinelord. Scans all over the place. The Vandaya scan. A single tank is left. Resieges the tanks. Marinelord with the splits. Gonna back off. Eats a shot. Tanks are so important. Marines easily replaced. There is a medevac drop at the back of the 4th. He can outrange the planetary. Unfortunately, doesn't have that much range. Gonna push him off. Clem still struggling for a position. If Marinelord takes a terrible engagement, but then things can turn. But it's still been Marinelord in the lead for much of this game. The supply does tell the story in this scenario. They're both making the same units. They have similar economies and similar upgrades. In that case, you can judge the supply as who's winning the game. The drop comes back in. Clem still has to scramble back. Marinelord is nearly maxed out. Oh, a scan. Beautiful timing! The tanks are not sieged! This is not where he wants to be! The Marine's stemming up. He really wants to save these tanks. He boosts away and actually saves the vast majority of them. I think he lost maybe 1 tank, maybe none. But Clem, he's at the breaking point. One more botched attack or slow defense, and Marinelord can push through. Both players now going fully for air control as we reach the max out point. More starports on the way, Liberators, Vikings. Anyone who's able to decisively take air control with this many tanks has a very clear path towards victory. So the battles continue. Scanning at the edge of his sensor tower range, trying to see, does Clem try to take a fight? +2 versus +1 mech weapons, which means they both 3-shot their opponent's tanks instead of 4. Very important to note. And of course, extra splash damage on Marines. Clem struggling to get up to 200 supply. Marinelord is there. He's taking a 5th, going for a 6th, but Clem has blocked that out. This watchtower paying off here. Marinelord looking for a massive flank. Clem has to be careful. The tanks must siege. He must fight. It looks like the tanks siege for Clem first. The splits are there. Targets down all of the Vikings. Vision. He took out all the Vikings, and then the Liberators come up. A fortuitous timing. He lost a few dozen Marines, but Clem turns what looks like a trap back in on itself. However those words work. The Liberator's going to be in front. The tanks can siege behind. Will he stim to try to take him out? He's backed up against his own planetary. Takes out the Vikings. Oh, then he picks up the Marines before the tanks siege. What a play. And then the Liberators siege up. The Marines are picked up on both sides. The ground is not safe for you anymore. But the tanks are forced to retreat off the planetary. Marinelord now down in supply for maybe the first time in quite a while. Most of this game, in fact. Now the Marines will stem forward. At what cost? They'll take out the Liberators, but stop the bleeding. More Vikings come up. 5 Vikings at a time for Marinelord. The siege continues. He is mining from that northern base. Very important. Clem is getting a 5th base of his own. It's unclear whether the planetary will fall, but there's a lot of damage being done. The Vikings are in position. Everybody's in the danger zone. There's a no man's land here. He stims. There's still a lot of medevacs at the back. Okay, 3 medevacs at the back. The tanks are going to try to move up. Does Marinelord try to break this? Both sides have 3-3. Both have +2 mech weapons. Both have similar army supplies. The tank count, 11 to 11. A mirror matchup. A lot more supply is invested in Vikings for Marinelord, but the tanks are already here. They're already in range. He has plenty of scans, so that air control is not paying off. He's making 4 Liberators. He's holding the line. He's continuing to try to make his way forward. That's a lot of Vikings. 10 Vikings for Marinelord, but that tanks blasting through the planetary. It will fall. Another scan. Marinelord's unit composition depends on taking the right fight. Clem's depends on keeping that from happening. Marine tank against more decisive air control. A Liberator sieges up. This is happening. Very dead Marine. Anything that takes attention away is super key here. The tanks are unsieged. Okay. But it's too risky. It's far too risky. Marinelord now struggling. His income severely reduced by a single Liberator. He did lose the 4th. Clem sharking around the map. The opportunist. A scan on the entire army. You gotta be careful, sieging up your tanks too early or too late. The scans continue across the board. The Christmas lights. Oh, the tank's in a dicey position. Yeah, go, 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 go. He stems forward. He steps forward. The tanks can't siege in this position. They're at the front. They wall off their friendly Marines. Siege on both sides. Terrible, terrible damage from the tanks. Who comes out on top of this? Marinelord loses a lot of Marines in the first volley. Are there any Liberators to follow it up? This is trying to land. Somehow, where did this Raven come from? Did he just build it? I think he lost the Raven from earlier. The tanks on siege. He tries to go for the save. Gets one. The other one's left behind. But the tanks from Clem, he's starting to take a significant supply lead. The Vikings can't fill the tank very reliably. Ooh, maybe Clem stepping a little too far forward, getting a little antsy. More Marines on the right side. Down goes the command center. There's nothing. Well, no, it's gone. Marinelord being chipped down, but Clem getting a little ahead of himself. Siege tank still very strong. Another drop on the right side. Both players, 400 APM average for Clem, 350 for Marinelord, who's playing the a little bit more passive unit composition. The scans from both sides. Clem's economy has not been touched for a while Marinelord has been struggling to get his army together. Auto turret coming in. He's going to target down the Raven. Oh my god, big moves. Clem out on the field. This is... Yep. Oh, the scan. Marinelord moving into position. There's not that many tanks left for Clem. He's at 7 against 10. And against a player who has air control. Clem expanding like a Zerg. A medevac taken out. The battle continues. Both players still getting up towards 200 supply. Once again, it's Marinelord with the better unit composition, but Clem keeps finding an opportunity. Ooh, anti-armor missile, Cheeto dust over everything. Here come the tanks. The battle escalates. Will he be able to get the Liberator siege up in position? Clem stimming through everything. Beautiful split. Anti-armor missile gonna help out a lot, but is it gonna help out enough? He closes the distance. The no man's land. No Marines left. And the supplies are dead even. He's gonna stim forward. The tank's on siege! Jumps right on top of everything! Only a handful of tanks! More tanks coming through! He's tearing through it all! The Vikings not in position! The tank's a little bit too close! Another one gunned down! He's gonna continue to press his advantage. Now, how many Vikings? 8 Vikings, 1 Liberator, the Raven, still a lot of medevacs. Marinelord. Oh, and this Liberator has... No. 1 kill. That reaction time from Clem. While all that was happening, a Liberator was sieged up, and Clem pulled his SCVs away in a timely manner. So just... He's still... Like, this army is very active. It's very mobile, because he's not relying on all those Vikings. But at the same time... That's it. He got into the right spot. Checkmate. Marinelord out of position. Not enough tanks. Gonna lose his key mining base. Did Marinelord? He knew about this base. Okay. And it's all over. Yeah, looking at the army supplies here. The unit composition is what kind of seals the deal. The problem is that Clem can continue producing. Look at that sensor tower coverage. And this base is super important to keep alive. Because... Marinelord is mining out of his only other base. That is really fresh. Maybe he makes a last stand, but Clem had taken a severe advantage over that. If you like Marines dying, make sure to like or leave a kappa on this video. Because, well, I didn't learn anything besides you have to be super fast and juggle 10 things at once while producing in TVT, but that was a great game.